everybody. I want to jump on here just a minute and show you a quick trick of how you make diagonal cards using DSP. Like especially if you have DSP that you like the front and the back, and DSP, for those of you who don't know, is designer series paper, the real pretty paper that Stampin' Up! Sells that really can make or break a project. So I made these last night that are diagonal one side and then the other side. And you'd think it'd be a simple little, it is very simple, but if you don't know how to do it, then it's impossible to cut it to where it ends up right. So I'm just going to show you the trick of how that works, and maybe you can use it sometime when you have some DSP that you like both sides of the paper. Okay, so I've got my DSP and I like both sides of it. I can use those together to make a card. So I'm going to cut, first of all, the size that you cut is determined by if you're going to mat it or not mat it, or how many times you're going to mat it. So our card base is 5.5 by 4 1/4, and then my green layer is, we go down by 1/4 of an inch. So the green layer is 4 by 5 1/4, and so the next layer would be 5 by 3 3/4. So I'm going to cut this piece to 5. And I'm going to cut 2 pieces to 3 3/4, because 2 pieces is the secret of how it works. So there's one, 3 3/4, and then there's my other one. Okay, and then when I get those cut to the same size, I'm going to take one piece and turn it over. And so you're going to stack these together and put them in your trimmer with the corners in the little tray that does the cutting. So just line it up the best you can. Then I'm going to cut it. And before you take it apart, I'm going to get the card base over here. This is not the right color, but it's one I've got handy. So I would use white with this. So I'm going to take the card base and I'm going to place one from the stack in one corner and leave it about 1/4. Well, this one we went in about that far because it's 5 by 3 3/4. And then the other piece underneath it. That's how it works. So in this pile, you take one from one stack and one on top of each other. So one from this stack. You know what I'm saying. I'm having a hard time getting the right words, but that's how you do it to make it evenly come out. So there you go. I hope you can use that tip and have a new design for a card. The person that I saw do this, what they do is put a sentiment strip right here in this crease, and like a little skinny sentiment strip. And I tried that last night. This is the stamp set that I was talking about. I tried to do the diagonal sentiment on this piece right here, but I had already glued this to the green and the green to the card base. And so that's what you don't want to do, because I was not able to get the sentiment on there, which is, you know, the way that demonstrator did it. So the way you do get the sentiment on is you take, I've already stamped this in advance, and it's, the greeting is from the Sweet as a Peach stamp set. And you put the greeting on, so I know I'm going to add something to the end here, like a little decoration. So I'm going to scoot the sentiment down a little further than, you know, I'm not going to center it. So I'm going to start it about right there, leaving plenty of room to get that on. So then you put the sentiment on. Let me go ahead and put some adhesive on here. And then you cut it before you put it on the card base. So I'm going to put that about right there. And then you turn it over, and using the awesome snips that I talk about a lot, I love these things, you snip it off to be exactly with the cardstock. And I could put a little bit more. I could use the trimmer. I think I will. Yeah. So you trim the sentiment before you put this on the card base. So I'm just going to line it up right where it'll cut off without cutting the cardstock. That wasn't enough. Did that just a little bit more. I could trim that with the, I might have got some of the cardstock there, but anyway, you get my drift. You put this on before you glue it to the, it's hard to see atop the camera. I mean, with the camera in the way. Like that. See how that just neatly lines up? I did get a little bit. No, I didn't. Okay. And then if you could use the snips, it might have been easier, but I want it perfect, so I can't cut straight. Go a little bit more. There we go. See how it just looks real finished when you get it lined up with the card base. I mean, this piece. So then I would just put a dimensional on the little flower I cut. I love using dimensionals. It just gives a little extra flair, little pop. Okay, so that would be applied to the card base. And so that's how you cut the ends before you put it on the card base. Isn't that cute? Okay, that's it. That's all I have for this little tip. But I hope you like it, and we'll try this little diagonal cut because it really does look good depending on the DSP you use. So thanks for tuning in.